So, welcome to the next lecture. This is part A of the rotational dynamics. In previous lectures, we have completed till the topic theorem of perpendicular axis. In today's lecture, as you can see, we are going to discuss about angular momentum, or you can say moment of linear momentum, that is L bar or vector L. So, what is that basically? We have to say. Before starting that, we should know some basic things as we have discussed earlier. Uh, Two comparable quantities, or can say two similar, or can say analogous quantities. One thing is force, another quantity is torque. Force is quantity which is uh, discussed in linear motion, or you can say translational motion. But in the uh, angular motion, or you can say in the rotational motion, we talk about, instead of force, we talk about torque. So what is happening basically? Torque, it consists of some distance, um, and we apply two forces at some perpendicular distance, and due to those two forces, this body, or you can say this part, it gets rotated. That's why it is called as moment, or you can say moment of force. In simple words, it is called as torque. So force which is in linear motion analogous to torque which is in angular motion, or you can say rotational motion. uh, this torque is also called as moment of force, and what is the formula we will see. Another quantity what we are going to see here, that is linear momentum and angular momentum. In linear momentum, simply we define momentum is equal to mass into velocity, which is valid for the linear motion. But in angular momentum, this is r cross p. Vector L is equal to r cross p, where r is the distance, or you can say position vector from the axis of rotation, or you can say simply distance from the axis of rotation, and p is the linear momentum, or you can say this instantaneous linear momentum, as you can see here. So basically we are going to talk about here linear angular momentum and linear momentum relationship. In general, it is shown as vector L equals to r cross p, where vector L is nothing but angular momentum. That is the notation for the angular momentum. What is the value? Suppose a body which is rotating about around the axis of rotation, this is the axis of rotation, and particle, some small element mass, or you can say particle is there. Distance of that particle will be like this. So this distance is termed as r. So linear momentum of this particle at this moment, that will be nothing but p. So when we multiply r into p, or you can say cross product of r cross p, we get the angular momentum of that particle, which is nothing but in this rotating body. So we are talking about here this cross product and dot product. As we know, any vector A cross vector B, this is in the vector form. Its scalar form is nothing but AB sine theta. Similar to that, we have vector R cross vector P. This is in vector form. A scalar form will be this. I can write rp sine theta, or we can see pr sine theta, both are same. Now what is theta here? Theta is the smaller angle between direction of linear momentum and position vector. So body is here, this is axis of rotation, this is the position of the particle, this will be the distance and some direction of the velocity, or you can say direction of the linear momentum, angle between these two quantities, that is theta. So this is a very simple formula for the angular momentum, that is PR sine theta. Now we go for the expression. How can we derive this expression? Suppose we have a rigid body which is rotating about this axis, and this is the sense of rotation, and omega is the angular speed, the speed in the rotational motion, that is angular speed around this, about this axis. What are the other information we have provided here? For the theoretical assumption, or you can say to be correct in theoretical form, what we consider this object, this body which is rotating about this axis. That body is consist of so many particles. In general terms, we write them as n number of particles. So n number of particles, that is going to start from first particle, second particle, third particle, and so on. Another thing is that all the particles, they are not at the same distances. Some particle will be near to the axis, some particle will be somewhat far from the axis, or you can say different positions of the particle are having different distances from the axis of rotation. So that's why we are showing here particle 1, particle 2, and so on up to the particle n, that is nth particle. We are having here as m1, m2, mn. This means these n number of particles having mass as m1, m2, m3, and so on up to mn. Now another quantity which is written here, that is r1, r2, and rn. What is r? As I have told you, r is the position vector from the axis of rotation to the position of that particle. So this position, that is r1, this position of the particle second, that is r2, and for the another up to nth particle, that is rn. So basically m, the m's are masses, the r's are the position vector, you can say distances of these particles from the axis of rotation, and this is the sense of rotation with the constant angular speed. So moving ahead, as I have explained this thing, how we write, or you can say how we have to write it properly in the for the exam purpose, you can say for the reading purpose, expression proof purpose. We have to consider a rigid body which is rotating with a constant angular speed, and the value of constant angular speed is omega, and the rotation is about the axis which is perpendicular to the plane of paper. As we have discussed it earlier, suppose this is the paper which is kept horizontally like this, and this line is perpendicular to this plane of paper. So this paper should rotate like this from here to here, and this will be its axis of rotation, which will be perpendicular to this plane. That is what. Now, as you can see, we have to consider, let body has n particles, I have told you, of the masses from m1, m2, m3 up to mn at respective perpendicular distance. So this must be clear. Those distances which are r1, r2, r3 Those are the perpendicular distances from the axis of rotation. Body, this is axis of rotation, and this distance which should be perpendicular. R1, R2, Rn, all the distance they must be perpendicular to this axis of rotation. Now, as we know that since body is rotating with constant angular speed, so particles inside the body, they will perform uniform circular motion because angular speed is constant, same. So all the particles inside the body, they will have same angular speed, that is omega. But what about the linear speed? Since every particles are at different distances, or you can say with different position vectors, if we draw a circle, we will get different circles for each and every particles. So that circle is considered as its circular path when body is rotating. So these particles are individual units of this whole system, or you can say whole body. So for one particle, the motion of the circular path will be like this. So along this circumference, at every position, this particle will have different linear speed. This concept goes for all the particles. So at every position, all the particles are having different linear speed, and the direction of linear speed is always, as we know, that along the tangent. This may be considered as radius, and this is tangent. So this is the direction of linear speed, that is you have to see. That's why it is written as the particles are performing uniform circular motion with constant angular speed constant, but different linear speed. So what is the value of linear speed? V1 is equal to, simply V is equal to R omega. R is the radius, omega is the angular speed, angular velocity. Magnitude wise we consider as angular speed. This is linear speed. For the particle 1, it will be V1 R1. Omega is constant for every particles. For the particle 2, it will be V2 R2. For the particle 3, it will be V3 R3. So for the particle nth particle, it will be Vn Rn. So that's why we have here linear speed of the first particle V1 R1 omega, second particle V2 R2 omega, and up to the nth particle, that is Vn equals to Rn omega. They are having directions along the tangent, as I have explained it earlier. So that is the value of linear speed. When we talk about linear momentum, we know the formula of linear momentum. P is equal to mass into velocity. We have the masses of all the particles, we have the linear speed of all the particles. So for the particle 1, it will be P1 M1 V1. For the particle 2, it will be P2 M2 V2. For the particle nth particle, it will be Pn Mn Vn. So that's why particle first, P1 equals to M1 V1. At the place of V1, from here I can write M1 R1 omega, which is nothing but along linear speed. So the direction of momentum is along the linear speed. Similarly, for the particle 2, momentum will be P2 M2 V2, and V2 is nothing but R2 omega. So at the place of V2, I can write R2 omega. It becomes M2 R2 omega. So this goes up to nth particle. So linear momentum of nth particle Pn is equal to Mn V1 Mn Vn, which is equal to Mn Rn omega. Now we have to consider angular momentum. As we know that angular momentum, that is p r sine theta, this r is perpendicular distance, theta will be 90, so its value is 1, so it becomes only L is equal to p r. So angular momentum of the first particle, so L1 will be p1 r1. So at the place of p1 I can write this thing, m1 r1 omega. So here we'll get L1 equals to m1 r1 square omega, L2 equals to p2 r2. So at the place of p2 I will write m2 r2 omega. So this r2 and this r2, they are multiplied, it becomes r2 square. Similarly, angular momentum of nth particle, it will be ln pn rn, which is nothing but mn rn square omega. What we have to consider here, we have to see angular momentum of the body is algebraic sum of angular momentum of all individual particles. That means what? Whatever be the angular momentum of all the particles, if we add them, we will get the angular momentum of the whole body. So basically we have to add angular momentum of all the particles. So it becomes like L, which is angular momentum of the body, equals to L1 angular momentum first particle plus L2 angular momentum second particle plus up to Ln angular momentum of nth particle. So as we have L1 is equal to m1 r1 omega r1 square omega, L2 is equal to m2 r2 square omega, and Ln is equal to mn rn square omega. So at the place of L1 L2 I have kept these things. Now what is common here? Omega is common in every term, so keep omega outside, or you can say take it common. Inside remains m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus mn rn square. This value is equal to moment of inertia, that is I. So at the place of this value we have to write I and omega. So this angular momentum becomes I into omega, that is moment of inertia into angular speed. So now this is the expression of angular momentum. This angular momentum is analogous to linear momentum in the terms of p is equal to mass into velocity. This is angular speed, this is linear speed, this is angular momentum, this is linear momentum, that is p. Now what is comparable here? This moment of inertia is comparable to mass, which is very physical significance quantity. Inertia arises due to the mass of the body. They are interrelated. So this was the expression for the angular momentum. Now we have to see another expression, that is expression for the torque in terms of moment of inertia. We have to find torque. Now what is torque? Basically it is written like tau, 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 Greek letter. So what is torque? Basically, suppose we have a rod here, and at this point, suppose this is point B and this is point A. So suppose at point A I am applying some force in this direction, that is F1. At point B I am applying some force in another direction, which is equals to F2. Suppose this F1 is equal to F2 in magnitude wise, but in direction wise they are opposite. Direction wise they are opposite. But what is the important thing to notice here? In action reaction pair, what happens? We apply both the forces at the same point, maybe in same direction or in opposite direction. But here we don't apply that force at the same point. One force is another point, and at another force is at a perpendicular distance from that point, and they must be in opposite direction, and their distance should be perpendicular. So due to this thing, what we notice that suppose this is the center, it becomes center ultimately. This part of body will go like this, and this part of body will go like this. So they are displaced in a circle, and this body starts rotating due to these two forces, one force here, one force here. So two force, they are called as couple of force. In another term, it is called as moment of force, and that moment of force itself is called as torque. So basically, that rotation arising forces, they are nothing but they are forming torque. Torque is also called as moment of force. So you have to find the value of torque in terms of moment of inertia. We always consider same kind of thing, like we have a rigid body. Instead of angular speed, we are going to consider angular acceleration, that is alpha. So this body is rotating with constant angular acceleration, means there is an acceleration, means body will perform circular motion, but which is not uniform circular motion. But all the particles which are here, they will have same angular acceleration. So we have, suppose this body is having n particles, particle 1, particle 2, and up to the particle n. Position of first particle is r1 from the axis of rotation. Position of second particle is r2 from the axis of rotation. Similarly, position of nth particle is rn from the axis of rotation. What is the important thing to notice here, that is particle 1 will experience some force, that is F1, which is in the direction of this, or you can say kind of perpendicular thing, tangential thing for this particle, and that is linear force, and value of that thing is m1 a1. This is a1, linear acceleration. Similarly, particle 2 will experience force, that is m2 a2, and nth particle will also experience a force, that is mn an. That we have to keep in mind. Now, as usual, for the mathematical expression, consider a rigid body rotating with constant angular acceleration alpha. Angular acceleration value is alpha about an axis which is perpendicular to the plane of paper. I have told this, what is the meaning of perpendicular to the plane of paper. Now let body consists of n particles, and all the particles having masses m1, m2, and up to mn. They are at the respective perpendicular distance r1, r2, and rn from the axis of rotation, that we have to consider. Now what is the important thing to notice here, all the particles, they are performing circular motion, not the uniform circular motion. Why? Because it is having acceleration with same angular acceleration alpha, means all the particles, they having angular acceleration which is nothing but same for all the particles, but different linear, or you can say tangential acceleration. Tangential acceleration is different, but angular acceleration is same. That we have to keep in mind. So what is the linear, or you can say tangential acceleration? That is a1 is equal to r1 alpha, a2 is equal to r2 alpha. What is the value, what is the relation between angular acceleration and linear acceleration? That is linear acceleration is equal to radius into angular acceleration. This is formula. So for the first particle first, it will be a1 r1 alpha. For the second particle, it will be a2 r2 alpha. For the third particle, it will be a3 r3 alpha, and so on. Similarly, force on the first particle, as I have told you, F1 is equal to mass into acceleration, that is m1 a1. But what is the value of a1? That is r1 alpha. So force will be m1 r1 alpha. So F2, force on second particle, will be m2 a2. It is nothing but m2 r2 alpha. And similarly force on the nth particle, it will be mn an, mn rn alpha. Now, and respective torque is given by, means force on the first particle, torque on the first particle, relationship between force and torque. So torque is equal to force into this distance, perpendicular distance. So what is happening here? If we write torque 1 is equal to tau 1 f1 r1. What is the value of f1? m1 r1 alpha. So at the place of f1 I will write m1 r1 alpha into r1, it becomes m1 r1 square alpha, that is tau 1 torque 1. Torque 2 f2 r2, that is m2 r2 square alpha. At the place of f2 we should write m2 r2 alpha. So r2 r2 that gets multiplied, it becomes r2 square. Similarly for the nth particle we will write torque n fn rn mn rn square alpha. So what we have to show, basically we have to express, right, what are the masses, what are the perpendicular distances, and relationship between linear acceleration and angular acceleration, and formula of the force, and relationship between force and torque, that we have to keep in mind. So till now we have found out torque of all the particles. But what the theory says, magnitude of torque of the given body is sum of its individual particles torque. Means suppose this is body, axis of rotation with constant angular acceleration. So all the particles, they are just rotating, performing circular motion with constant angular acceleration. So torque of the first particle plus torque of the second particle, torque of the third particle plus torque of the nth particle. When we add torque of all the particles, we get torque of the whole body. That is what tau, that is torque of the whole body equals to torque 1 plus torque 2 plus torque n, hence torque of the nth particle. So as we know that torque of the first particle equals to m1 r1 square alpha, torque of the second particle m2 r2 square alpha, torque of the nth particle mn rn square alpha. What is common here? As you can see, alpha is common in every term, so take alpha as common. Inside remains m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus mn rn square. Value of this thing is nothing but moment of inertia, that is I. So at the place of these terms you have to write I into alpha. So torque is equal to I into alpha, which is nothing but very much comparable quantity with force, which is in translational motion, you can say linear motion. In angular motion, in rotational motion, what we have, torque is equal to moment of inertia into alpha. In linear motion, what we have, force is equal to mass into acceleration. So acceleration, that is linear acceleration, this is angular acceleration, they are interrelated. Similarly, when we replace mass is equal to mass with inertia, moment of inertia, that is nothing but we are going to get this torque. So this mass is very much comparable with the moment of inertia, they are interrelated. So due to them, this torque is related with this force. So torque, which is in rotational motion, is analogous to force, which is in translational motion. So these are the two expressions what we have covered here. One expression for torque in terms of moment of inertia, that is torque is equal to I into alpha, uh, that is one expression here, this one, and the first expression, that was angular momentum, that is L is equal to I into omega. So angular momentum in terms of moment of inertia and torque in terms of moment of inertia. L is equal to I into omega, tau is equal to I into alpha. So this is the angular speed, this is angular acceleration. Angular speed gives us angular momentum and angular acceleration gives us, or you can say, torque. So thank you for today's lecture. We stop here.